I did a video yesterday about job interviews. And the thing about my content is I try not to blend too much in terms of my spirituality and what happens in, our lives in general, because I don't want to alienate people. And sometimes I don't want to overcomplicate something. So I'd rather just get to the point of a message rather than deviate. So with me, I blend everything in my life, in my daily life. It's all just natural. It's a natural embodiment. So I make practical decisions for myself while also having a deeper understanding about why things are happening, what's going to come next, and all the intertwining with that. So I'm not someone that's just like a mule. I don't just live in the 3D, just constantly just doing that monotony, repeat, 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 and following just everybody else into oblivion. To be totally honest, I have bigger dreams for myself, higher ambitions, and my spiritual path helps me attune to that. It gives me direction, and it helps streamline my life effectively. But I don't like to force that on people. So I understand people might be skeptical here, skeptical there, but that skepticism doesn't reflect upon my life. As I said, mine's all blended into one. That's why I segregate the content, because I don't want to isolate people. So this one's going to be, this video is probably going to include quite a bit of spirituality, really, to a degree. So I had a job interview yesterday, which I spoke about, and I walked away because I was sitting there for 20 minutes nearly. Well, actually, it was 20 minutes because I got there 5 minutes early and I left about 11:18. I was supposed to be there at 11. It's ridiculous. I don't want to go too deep because I've already done that video. But it was through an agency. Someone else had got there before me the previous week. So I'd put all my forklift licenses in. It was for a warehouse logistics job. And I did it all. And then I think they're probably using two agencies, to be totally honest. So by the time whoever one that reached out to me went to provide my details, they already had someone in line for an interview. So that was just the situation. Then this week, I hear from back and just say the person didn't turn up, all those things. Are you still interested? So I am. And they're trying to find a day for me to do an interview. I've got a few things around the home I've got to take care of. I've got appointments. So I gave as flexible as I could be. And then they said, can you do tomorrow? They're asking for 11 a.m. tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So I've done everything practically possible. I've reacted fast with my forklift licenses, sent them in. I'm always quick to respond with messages. I don't mess people about. So I've done all that, and then the next day I turn up. I get there early enough that it's not an issue. So by the time I've got, because they said, can you bring some boots, just in case you get shown around the warehouse. So I just thought, I'm just going to attend in the boots. I'm not going to walk around with a pair of shoes. So I get in the building, sign in with the visitor information, because you get those, for like fire register. And I sit down, and it's about 5:02. So I'm punctual. I'm ready. And I was there till nearly 20 past 11. No one greeted me. There was no reception. It was a lot of some warehouses are like this, where there are buildings, logistics companies, they don't always have an actual receptionist. I find baffling. So I'm messaging the agency, and they say, oh yeah, they'll meet you in a little while. Okay, I was like, fine. And of course, then I wait a further 15 odd minutes, and it's just ridiculous. I'm not going to sit. How long am I supposed to leave? They already also knew that I was only available until, I think I said something like 11 or 12 that day. I can't remember. I think I said 11 because I had to get back for a certain time, and I didn't want it overlapping. I had like a repair at the home. So I thought, this is just outrageous. Now, I don't want to go too deep into that, but for me, from a professional perspective, it shows a disrespect to people you have assigned a time and made a meeting. Doesn't matter what the meeting is, how low you think of someone or how high you think of them. You should be taking it serious and have respect. So it's decency. So I said in the video, look, if I was a manager, I'd make sure that I know my schedule. If I've made an appointment with someone at 11, and if something's come up out that you didn't expect, so unforeseen circumstance, and you can't get to that person dead on time, at least send someone there to at least inform them, so they're not waiting around ridiculously, because you don't know their schedule. You've allotted 11 o'clock. Most interviews really go on for about half an hour at the most, but you don't usually go back longer. Sometimes you get one that's an hour. But that's allotted time there. That's usually what you'd say, an hour for an interview, really. But you don't usually take that long. So the idea you're eating away at that time, and you're going to expect someone to still be there later, is just ridiculous. So I think that's how you should be, respectful. Go and say to the person, unfortunately, running behind, do you mind? Are you okay to wait a little bit longer? So that person can then make an informed decision, and you can provide an update, and at least there's communication. To just leave someone just sitting there is outrageous. Anyway, so I follow my gut feelings a lot. That's what I do. And going throughout most of my life, I just thought that was just an internal thing. You just think you're reacting to yourself. I'm far too deep into my spiritual journey to feel that's the case anymore. Sometimes perhaps it is if our ego and the way we feel, but I can often tell the difference between my ego and that, because usually it's not based in emotion. When it's our ego, it's based in emotion. So if we get emotional and all these things, then you could argue that that's your ego running rampant. If it's not from ego and it's come from a place a bit more peaceful, it's more of a knowing, then that's realistically, that's going to be some divine guidance. So yeah, okay, I was getting a little fed up leading up to it, but again, even in a moment where I could feel frustrated and all that, I can still discern when it's this causing this or this, because from a practical point of view, it would make perhaps more sense just to wait as long as it takes, because then you got a chance to still get the position. But for me, I don't want to work for people who are disrespectful. It's just that's if that's representative of how you treat people, and I haven't even met you yet, and I haven't even started, what is it going to be like working for them? So regardless of the like my personal financial circumstances, my peace, my happiness is far more important. I can cope with a lot of stress, and I'm not prepared to devalue myself. So what I didn't say in that video was a feeling I had inside of myself. Yeah, I walk away because it's disrespectful. So in a basic principle, I had every right to walk away. But there's also a feeling I had over myself. I was just, because I have sort of visions sometimes, most people probably do with certain things. Maybe have a little flashback of a memory. But I was sitting there, and I haven't been in a warehouse situation deeply. I mean, I've had dabbles, but realistically, for about 2 years or so. And I got a lot of experience in warehousing positions. So I just had a flashback thinking, I've outgrown this big time. Like, I got my latest book finished end of January. This is just one of 7 now. There's more to come, which I'm going to touch upon a bit later. But I'm far more than that. And for such a long period as well. They've overlapped. The journey's overlapped. But I'm not there for that anymore. But there was a part of me that thought the camaraderie, when you work in environments where you get like people get along and it's harmonious, it can be actually fun going to those places. It gets boring eventually and it gets tedious, but there is some memories to be had there, and if the right place it can work. In the wrong place, of course, it just drains you. So I was just having a little flashback to all that. And what I noticed in that moment was this feeling inside of me. Again, people can have their own opinions on things. It's easy to ridicule. So it's only because I always expect people to be negative. That's the thing. I don't have the best opinion of people because they're too emotional. So they're quick to react without giving people insight, like to give people time. But in that moment, I just felt that, if you add the things up, this shouldn't be complicated. Think about it this way. If something's supposed to be for us, it will work out. If it's not, then it was never meant for us. So if it's straightforward, one would suggest that's meant to be. If it's overly complicated and it's full of obstacles and challenges in a way that's not fair or balanced, one could suggest that that's not for you. You're trying to put what they call it, like a square peg in a round hole. It's just not working. So that's in the back of my mind. That just pops into my mind. Like, not even. I don't think I'm even supposed to take this job. Before I left, I was supposed to take this job. When I get there, I'm not. Now, I get a lot of signs about my life, my destiny, the purpose, and things. And I'm not going to go deep into that here because that's personal for me. And I've probably overshared over time. I'm going to share something in a moment, though. But I felt either. It's really hard to go into this. I know something's prophesized for me, and I know it's a big thing to say, but if you look at the body of work I've done and how I present, how I communicate, I'm not someone who lacks communication skills. And I think that's highly sought after. And I think I can help a lot of people in different aspects. Even the video I did recently about presenting, I felt that would help people who want to be content creators, who want to take it seriously, who want to elevate the way they communicate. So I watched that back and I thought, that was pretty good. Like, if you was thinking, like, if I thought of myself as a teacher, I felt that was a good lesson. So I thought, oh, done all right with that. So I was thinking about the situation sitting there, it not working out, and I thought, either this is what I'm going to say. 'Cause this is what I believe truly. I think sometimes I'm too fast. So I've spoken about it before. You think of life like checkpoints. Your next breakthrough comes at this checkpoint. This happens in your life at this checkpoint. You might have a baby, a child. That's a checkpoint. All these little checkpoints or chapters in your life. I know I'm on the precipice of something huge, something different to what I've ever experienced before. Because if you think about it, breakthroughs have to happen somewhere. Like, where do they happen? Well, it takes so long. Sometimes we just never think it can happen at all. But if we're realistic with ourselves, you think of the work you put in, direction of travel, where you're heading, it makes sense that at some point the breakthrough has to happen. I can't see me going through life and never having the breakthrough. But of course, the more you don't have that breakthrough, the more it just seems unrealistic. But when I look at the work I've done, it should be realistic. So there's obviously a gap between, like, it's almost like being stuck in the middle, in the in between. You're in between because you've outgrown one period of your life, but you haven't quite entered the other period of your life. Because my finances are hard, I think Spirit was trying to help me manage it at the moment because it's quite stressful and it's very complicated. So let's let this opportunity happen, and that will help me through it. Because partly I'd say that. Another thing to back that up is how weird it was I got this opportunity. I moan, sometimes I moan out loud at home. I live alone. So sometimes I just vent because I'm talking to my guides. It can seem crazy to other people, but I know they're listening. We're always together. Your guide's always with you. Universe always watching. And I was saying that I'm so fed up with this shit. That if the books are not going to sell and I can't get any traction no matter what I create, all the video content I create on YouTube, if I put it on social media, it gets me nowhere. Any book I write, I can't seem to get traction anyway. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, I can't move an inch. And I'm certain, like, when I apply for jobs, sometimes they don't work out. There's things that always happen. I'm like, well, what can I do? Like, I'm stuck in like an abyss. Like, I can't move an inch. It doesn't matter what I do, I can't be successful, and it's strange as shit. So I was making the point that I got a forklift license. I renewed my forklift license a year ago. I paid for that. What was the point if it's not going to be useful when I'm in a situation when I could do with some money to help me through a period? I was just venting like, this is a joke, and I kid you not, within I think it's the next day. To be totally honest, I had an interview. I was supposed to have an interview for something else, but I realised it would be too taxing on my body. It's just not good. So I thought, that's not, even if you need money, it's just not good for you. I had bad feelings with it, so I follow that. I follow my gut instinct. And then as soon as that missed, within about half an hour of me turning that down, like, decide I'm not even going to do the interview, and already moaning previously about the forklift, I got a text message from the agency who had spoke to me the before, and they come back to me, and they said, you got an interview. Yeah, and that happened. So the week before, like, when I did it, when I said they first reached out to me a week before, that's when that's when I said about the forklift. But I'm still moaning about the fact that so that was the initial me moaning about the forklift, and then that woman, that I literally got a text message within an hour. I think it was about half an hour. It was weird. When I moaned, I then got this message about this. But when I missed the job, so that one didn't work out, of course, because someone else had been pushed in for the interview before me. But the other one I turned down, it was after that, and then I'm moaning about the fact that I shouldn't be having to do that shit. I've got a forklift license. Why should I be running around like a mule doing the stuff I did in my 20s that I'm not in my 20s anymore, I'm 43. That's not sustainable. And then that's when the opportunity comes. So then I get this opportunity and I turn up. Not that impressive, but it's a means to an end if it's going to help me get through a crisis. And then, like I say, I personally feel the universe was trying to help me in that moment, but then it had to change of plans. So it's multiple. I think multiple things can be true at once. And I think that's where some people maybe get a bit confused, or maybe they get a bit regimented. So you say it's either because of this or it's because of that. No, I think it can be multiple things. And I think that's what it is. I think they were helping me with a financial crisis. So this opportunity, and then I personally, that's what I feel. I've asked questions as well on my tarot. I'm going to show it. I feel they cancelled that because they've got something bigger in store for me. They're aligning it quicker. So this month could still be really hard. And I'm in no doubt there's going to be challenges. But I'm expectant that either this month, next month, or just slightly after, something substantial should change in my life in a positive way. I'm hoping sooner rather than later, of course. I also feel that me being there was Spirit's way of humbling me. Before you get your breakthrough, we want to show you where you come from, what you've done, where you've been in your life. It keeps you grounded, keeps you level-headed. So don't lose your head in the clouds, because this is where you come from, and this is where you started, and this is how you built who you are today. It's really, I think there was lessons within that. Like I said, we had that flashback of the past, and I'm having this moment where there's still things that can be nice in places. It's like there's still the camaraderie, the teamwork, the banter. It's not always doom and gloom. But personally, I feel there are too many people in management positions who have no people skills. Maybe they're strong workers, and that's how they got the job, because they're focused, and but they lack the people skills, which is really what a leader should have. Fundamentally, you need people skills. So I think sometimes they put the wrong people in positions, to be honest, in workplaces. So I personally feel the job was there to give me an opportunity to help with the finances, but then it was, I think, retracted to allow me not to be compromised by that position. Because the other side of that, when you think about it, if I was there, I'll be more tired. And it's going to happen because everybody's tired at work. So then how do I because there's another thing I'm going to go back, come on next. I'm going to talk briefly about what the books that are coming in the future as well. Creative projects don't tire me so much. So if I'm aligned with what I'm here to do, it's natural. Going to physical workplaces, places that demoralizing, it drains your energy. It makes you more tired than you would have been doing something else. So me doing that would potentially slow down my productivity in my creative spaces. And I don't see how that benefits me anyway. So you regain financially, but you're not. It's having a detrimental impact on the other stage when you're so close to your breakthrough anyway. It makes no sense. It didn't make sense to me. I just thought, why not just give me the breakthrough in the first place? Why we keep going around in circles? So that's why I had this inkling in me. Like I think Spirit's trying to tell me that there's something else is coming. So I did. So this is the thing. I'm not going to do tarot here now. I might, if I feel like touching on it later, I might do. What I want people to realize is, I do this in my own life. I don't decide I'm going to go. Sometimes I do a video and I just go into it on video because I've planned to do that later. I'm going to do. You know what? That reading I do, I'm going to do on camera. I'm just going to do it there, and we'll see what happens. 95% of the time, I'm doing my readings in private for me because I'm not thinking about an audience. I'm not caring about an audience. This is just me and my guides. So I've come home. I've had a thought in my head. So I think it's been planted there. But hey-ho. So I'm straight away thinking, that was never supposed to be anyway. Not today. I think it got altered. So I'm going to ask my guides, what happened with that? And I had the question in mind that I was going to ask, and I asked it. So what I'm saying there is, I asked it because I had the question. I didn't think, I better put it on camera. I better tell the world. No, I don't need to. I'm just talking to them. This is between me and them. I don't need people to believe in what I'm saying. I don't need people to agree with me. I'm just sharing my experience. People can do whatever they want. You can be skeptical. You can think this is not mental. You can think all these things. But that doesn't change how I live my life. I live my life in alignment with Spirit. So all encompasses in one. So if I feel compelled to do something, I do it. If I feel compelled not to do something, I don't. So where I turned that job interview down, everything in me was red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. It was bothering me on so many levels. The fact that you don't get your weekends. I crave my freedom. I crave some consistency. The idea that it's weekends, you only get a random days off during the week and it changes every week. You're probably going to cover weekend days every time. That's just mental to me. You had to work minus 18 degrees sometimes if you're in this freezer environment. I don't do well in the cold like that. That's not going to be useful. You've got to wear a headset all day. I don't need something going through my head constantly. There's so many things, and I know the high pressure with those distribution centers, especially for supermarkets. So I was like, this is just a nightmare. I'm not 20, no, I'm not in my 20s anymore. So what did we get? So I'm going to show what I got. Now I don't put timelines on things. I have an expectation, but but it's subject to change, and it often does. But sometimes we get some beautiful surprises, don't we? And it'd be nice to have something beautiful. The other argument I will say there, just quickly, I get signs as well. So when I say signs, I get like content a lot that gets curated to me. Then people can put it down to whatever they want. But again, I'm very spiritual. I can ask my guides. So even if I saw something, I can then get my tarot cards out, and it's quite crazy how it matches. So my TikTok channel, for instance, I don't have to comment on people's things. I don't have to like anything. I don't even have to watch it to the end. I can just see it briefly. With my life, it just switches depending on what's happening with me. It's crazy, and it's been doing it since I joined TikTok. And it doesn't even matter if I create a new channel; it'll soon find its way to me. It might not do it immediately, but then it soon gets curated towards me. It's so mental, and it'll be familiar faces come back because I've made other channels as well, profiles that are not even affiliated with that one, and I've had it where I've disabled a profile, and then I've deleted TikTok completely, got another new phone as I got upgrade, put TikTok back on, didn't log into the old account at all, so it doesn't even have memory of that, and then I log into it and I make a new one, and it still finds these exact people that I'm familiar with. It's just that is so crazy. I was trying to get back to what the sign was now. Oh, I can't remember what I was going to say now because I've had quite a lot of signs lately. It's actually getting quite mental. But I do get a lot of signs about a career breakthrough, potential relationship, and all these different things. That's throwing me right off because I had a really good. I've had so many signs lately though. I don't want to overshare. Yeah, I can't remember where I was going with that, unfortunately. um, but anyway, yeah. So I get multiple signs of the things that are coming for me and what's happening in my life at that given moment. So my life is permanently guided. So I sort of know roughly what to expect. So yeah, one of the things I was arguing with Spirit was about. This is where I was going. I got signs that your guides, that universe, you've done so much that they're proud of, and I do get a lot of things about like your purpose, what you're here for, and it is humanitarian. There's a deep aspect. It takes a lot of courage to do what I'm doing. That's what it says. And it says they want to surprise you. I don't do well with surprises because look, if someone comes up with a surprise out of the blue, that's nice. If someone makes you suffer for a while just so they can give you this big surprise at the end, that irritates the shit out of me because I would rather you just didn't waste time with all that nonsense just to give me a surprise at the end. Just freaking do it. Just do it normal. I don't need a big surprise. Just make it fair now. Like, I don't need all that. So I feel sometimes the universe is making me suffer for a bit. So then when the surprise comes, it seems it's bigger. It's even bigger. And it's like, no, I don't need a big surprise though. Just freaking make it fair now. I don't care about none of that crap. And that's one of the arguments I have. So I don't know if that's influenced something. But anyway. So I put, did Spirit Universe stop me from taking the job today? Now, when we do back of the back of the deck is the current energy. And it was quite surprising to me. Well, it shouldn't really surprise me, should it? How accurate that was. How I feel. Remember that. I'm trapped financially. I feel like I can't move an inch. No matter what I do, nothing grows. And that's what you're saying. Look at the back of the deck. Now, people might not know the cards, but we've got the Eight of Swords. You just look in there. There's actually one sword, I think, that was actually prominent at the front. So what it shows, I mean, unfortunately, it's all blurry. I can't do a damn thing with this because what it is focusing on me, I think. It might be able to fix itself if I get out of camera. Oh, okay. Well, you're just going to have to be blurry. I hope you can see it at some point. So you got at the back of the deck, we've got the Eight of Swords, which is showing that if you are trapped, you feel trapped and stuck. It's a feeling of being trapped and stuck. So you can get out of that circumstance. This one is like a leader. This one's a courageous leader. It's just, you know the truth and ambition. And that's really where we're coming from. That's what we are. And then we've got this one here. I think it's the Two of Swords. That's uncertainty. So you don't really know what to do, or you're not making a decision. You're stuck in between different things, and that's true, isn't it? I'm stuck between these two situations where I'm progressing in one career, but I'm having to bounce back to the old career. It's like, how do you balance this? It's just a nightmare. And yet, at the very end, out of all that negativity, the sun. That's a major arcana. And a lot of time, I've got to tell you, that's hurt my arm. A lot of time when I talk about these things, but the cards, I rarely give prominence to the card itself. Like, I know in my heart, when you see the sun, it's huge. But I'll just say, oh, it's the sun. So that's a really nice card. It's not just the sun. The sun is a happiness. It's a beam of light. It's something completely beautiful. It's youthful energy. It's just, you're just so happy. And I don't really get that across sometimes. I'll just say, oh, it's the sun card, but I know what it means. And I know how beautiful that card is when it comes out. So to have so much distress, I guess, and there is, so that's what I'm seeing in the cards. So when I say distress, I guess, and then I think about my life, it's like, yeah, it's freaking stressful. I'm interpreting, I'm looking at the cards, I'm reading what it's saying. But then after that, I think about myself and I go, oh, yeah, well, that's what we're doing. But it's saying that happiness is coming. Like, happiness is coming. And there's something that's truly missing from me. And it's the one thing I always say to the universe, I just want to be happy. So I've said, did Spirit Universe stop me from taking the job today? And it was this uncertainty, this differing, this misalignment. But you're going to be happy. So that's what they're helping me do. They're helping me get happiness. Because although the finances are hard, when I got home, I just felt a bit, I still felt free though. I'm not bound by someone else's rule. I'm not being ordered to do this. I'm not have to attend this thing all the time and be the same place and do all that schedule all the time. So I thought, okay, my finances are tight, but at least I've got my freaking freedom. That's something I crave dearly. So I was like, okay, let's be more specific now. Because I'm just asking, did they stop me from the job? So then I said, so I consider different aspects of life, like my life, for instance, like I said, in chapters, and I do understand, I recognize there's got to be there's a big career breakthrough at some point. It could be so many different. I know, look, I know what I'd be good at. I'm not saying I'd be interested in these roles, but I just know from sort of my skill set, I can write my books, so I could easily do that. So that means I could write articles in publications and all sorts of things. Doesn't mean I want to do that. I just know my aptitude. Radio. I'd be good on radio, podcasts. I could TV. I've got no doubt because look, I'm on camera now and I can talk and I can articulate. So there's no doubt that if you can do this platform, you can do that platform. You can do that platform. You can do that platform. I'm not saying it'll just happen overnight or you just be like great immediately, but you grow into things. That's what everything's all about, isn't it? Growing. I could see one day me talking on stage. I don't see how that would be a problem either. I'm just doing what I'm doing now. There'd just be an audience. So, and like I say, I've got my books as well. So there's different things. So that means I can do things off camera with just a microphone. I can do things completely away from all that and just write. And I can also put myself on camera or even in person. I think that's quite an impressive skill set because many people have stage fright and they're terrified of speaking and being open about themselves. They have fears that they pretend they're confident. Whereas if you watch me, I'm not. I just try not to overcomplicate things because I don't want to isolate an audience. Like I don't want people to miss the message because I don't see how that's helpful to give too much information at once. So if I gave all the layers to my life on every time I speak, it's going to be overwhelming to someone who's not even had knowledge of spirituality or connection to source spirit, even recognizing they've got spirit guides and they're never truly alone. That concept would be lost on someone who's never experienced it or doesn't understand it. So then when I try and talk about something that's a bit more personable in life, so you go through a trauma, you go through a situation, you're outgrowing this, there's a lot of personal growth. I wouldn't want to dilute what I'm trying to say by having too much information that would be sort of unrealistic to someone else, you know? So I do try to find that blend. So that's why I always often do. Sometimes I'll do a separate video where I will try to elaborate a little bit more. So this is that layer, which I didn't want to taint. Now we're going to talk about another layer that to me encompasses all of it. So is my major career breakthrough happening soon? Quite interesting. We get the frozen. I'm going to just quickly show it. I'm not going to be able to. I'll just have to show it, but hopefully you can make some sense out of it. Again, I can't do much more than that. Um, a minute. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's all blurry as shit. There's just nothing we can do with these cameras, unfortunately, because I don't want to mess it up. If I start messing with the focus, then I've got to mess it again when I do my video, and I'm only holding it for a little while. But if you can get the grasp here, we'll just go through it here briefly. I think that's the Five of Pentacles, the Three of Cups, the King of Pentacles, the King of Wands, and I think that was the Eight. Is it Eight of Wands? Nine of Wands. I think it's Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands. Then another card just briefly fell out, and I weren't sure, so that's why it's got it separate, and that is the King of Swords. So there's three kings, potentially, which is quite impressive. We're only missing the King of Cups. But at the back of the deck was conflict. Okay, so that's what we got. So I'm going to talk through it now. You've seen the picture. I can't. It's hard for me to hold it like that and talk. It's frustrating because it gets heavy. So anyway, is my major career breakthrough happening soon? So starts off. Now again, everything's leading, isn't it? It's usually the first card's probably the past. Well, it's the past really. It's something that's just been happening. So we've got the the Five of Pentacles, and it's even in the imagery, it's frozen. So your finances are stuck. It's frozen. It's not moving. Nothing's happening. Yeah, yeah, that's happening. So then I get community. Three of, I think it's a Three of Cups. Yeah, Three of Cups. That's community. That's collaboration. So that's nice. So you're going from this frozen, isolated time to now you've got community around you, people like-minded, potentially. Things moving forward. But it swiftly changes. And this is where I say a lot of time when I talk on the cards, I understand in myself how significant these changes are, but I don't think maybe I explain them very well when I do the cat videos because I've got so much information to get through it. It's almost like glossed over. But even like I recognize it. So you've gone from just these three cards. We just show it quickly. This one, and this one. So I play on the keyboard. This one is really frozen finances. This one is a collaboration of people just coming together and supporting each other. So it's going to be something interesting there because I do a lot of things on my own. So who is this? Who is this? What is this situation that could happen? And all of a sudden, you've turned the frozen money to the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is wealthy. King of Pentacles isn't little, little. You go up in levels. You can go up in rank with with a pentacle suit. You're on a 5 where it's frozen, and you still go up, and then you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is it 10? 9, 10, yeah, 10. And it goes up in levels. So like I think it's the 7 of Pentacles is usually the fruits of your labor. It's about to bear fruit. Then you get the 8, and then you got the 9. So the 8 is obviously you enjoying what you've built. You're being successful. 9 is financial independence. You're doing incredibly well for yourself. It's wealthy. But the King of Pentacles, because you've already got the page, and the queen before that, page, knight, queen. But we're on the king. So we've just skipped a million steps. You've gone from no money, absolutely stuck to shit, to now you're thriving. Huh. That's crazy. How could that happen? But then you look at the body of work I've done, and it shouldn't be so surprising. But it is because I'm stuck. So we got that. So then we've also got the knight or the king of wands. So the King of Wands is someone that's charismatic, someone that's attractive, you're magnetizing, people are drawn to you. So you've got this really, really inspiring magnetic energy. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? We've got that attached to that. But then it also shows the Nine of Wands. So it's having to stand your ground. Stand your ground, stand up for yourself. So there is a level of potential competition, and the reason I say that is because the back of the deck is competition because I think we've got the 5 of is it swords, 5 of wands. So I think that shows a level of competition that's in that at the moment. It's conflict. So I mean that could mean anything at this point. That could be in the background. That could be conflict between even light and dark. It could be that there's negative entities have put a curse or blocked what I'm doing. I don't know the level of depth of that, but I do know that my life is a challenge all the time. Now, I get it. Some people are going to be skeptical, but for me, it's kind of surreal. Every time I do this, that the cards match the energy I'm going through. And even relay what I've always thought internally, So I know I'm going to be successful one day. I've got no doubt about it. It's just when. And then it just suggests that immediately there. And the transition is quite quick. So I found that quite great, to be totally honest. You've gone from a job that didn't work out, being frustrated that it didn't, because that would have helped me in 2 weeks' time. It was a weekly paying job. It was temp to perm, but I didn't really want anything permanent because I see a bigger future for myself. So I just want the money now just to get me through the period. So it took 2 weeks anyway to start getting any money from it, and maybe a month before you truly see a benefit, like a deep benefit. So if let's say a breakthrough come between now and maybe a month, month and a half, it's it wouldn't really have helped that job. That wouldn't have made much difference overall. Although, of course, it would help in the period, but you're sacrificing a lot just to have that little bit of improvement. So it might only be a slight improvement, but drained due to so much that it was unnecessary. So the universe knows how to put all the pieces to the puzzle together, you know? So I wasn't necessarily going to show that. I didn't intend to when I did the reading, which is why I did it off camera. I did it yesterday myself, you know? But yeah, so like I say, I've recently released Follow Your Dreams to Sparkle Your Soul. I didn't expect it to just sell straight away. It was never does. It wasn't the intention, but it was get done quick, and I think one day it will. I really think I love this book. So I'm not going to say too much because I don't like selling things. I don't like over promotion, but I do love this book, and I think at some point it will get recognised, and I think people will also begin to enjoy it as well, and I think appreciate it because it's going to give people perspective on life. It's going to empower them. That's the most important thing. I think people reading it's going to empower them in their life to give them focus, drive, and ambition. And it's not allow anybody else to just like sidetrack you and go after your dreams in the same way I go after mine, you know, but maybe not in such an extreme way because, you know, I'm unique. I'm unique to the way others live. And my life is hard as a consequence because obviously, you know, you can't, if you do something that goes against the norm and the life's still lifing, you know, so there's still pressures around. I don't just get to alleviate the pressures on me. I just take the hits. So let's say there's a payment I've missed. Now I've got pressure from that person, and now you may be in a little bit of debt. It's not a huge amount of debt, but the pressure comes. You get a letter. All of a sudden, they're trying to enforce it. They're trying to put more pressure on you to repay it immediately, and it gets more stressful the more higher the level of the debt goes. And that compounds, doesn't it? It makes you stressful. It makes you more miserable. And then there's other issues where maybe you're struggling in other areas, you know. And some people, they can't handle that at all. And I can understand that. It's not comfortable. But when you've put yourself in those situations in the past, you know how to manage it. I know how to circumvent it. I know the stages. So, like, for instance, it's not nice to be in debt. It's not nice to owe money. But when your situation is such that you can't repay it in full at the moment, or you can't make it, you're just struggling over. There's a level of struggle, and you're below. You're too low at the moment. Life doesn't stay the same forever. I'm not a naive individual. So, and I know the levels they have to go to. So let's say it takes about 3 months before it starts escalating to a more serious level. And even then it takes it'll take even more time for it to escalate even further than that. For me, I can take the hits knowing the levels and not taking my eye off it, but aware of it, but knowing that I don't expect to be in a crisis forever. So when my life improves, especially financially, I will immediately cover all the payments. I'll make payment plans immediately. So if I can't cover it in full, I can still make a payment plan that's affordable and I can repay it. So in a crisis, it seems overwhelming, but in reality, it can be easily remedied when your situation improves. It doesn't even have to be a dramatic improvement, you know. So it's not usually so. The crises we face are not always as bad as we think. It's just overwhelming sometimes, you know. So sometimes when we require a reset, we just have to accept the hits. It's just part of the process. You have to believe in yourself. So that's really important. So where I've put what's coming next, irrespective of whether I have a breakthrough, which, you know, there's a lot of suggestion there that the breakthrough is coming, which would be nice. I do have other books in production. I have earmarked 2 more to come out this year because I've done the first one was literally a few weeks ago. So the end of January, maybe 2 weeks ago, actually. It's only 2 weeks. That's the thing with me. I'm impatient. I expect the world to change immediately. It's only been 2 weeks. Come on, relax. So the next book's supposed to, I say supposed because this isn't set in stone. These books will see the light of day. Whether I do any more this year is not absolute. So I've said another book's going to come out July and then the next one December. I don't mind if nothing else comes this year. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. If I want it to come out this year, it will come out this year. If I decide that next year, it'll be fine. I don't really care in the order they come, like in terms of how fast it is. I'm happy for this book to be the one this year. You know, that's enough. So if the others come out, it's bonus. That's interesting, you know. So the next book is Politics Society. At least it's the plan, but the spiritual book could come first. It's not, again, nothing's set in stone here. It depends on progress I make and where my interest is. So at the moment, there's a focus in the book that I'm doing on American politics to a degree. Not overwhelming, not in a way that's boring. It's just raising a spotlight on certain aspects and how that influenced the world. Then I focus on some of the political drama that goes on in the UK. So I'm covering that. But I don't want the book to be overly political. So it's not about people just getting bogged down in the deep sides of politics. It's more about society and the impact. So it's not just about politics, it's literally about society as well. The way we judge people, the way we're not really respectful of others. A lot of people aren't, but there's been a lot of racism that exists. There's just issues within society. So I'm covering politics, but also the other aspects that I see issues with. And it's from my own personal observations and my opinion. And, I expect it to offend some people because I often offend people when I speak. But with me, I honestly don't care about people's reactions. I just don't, it doesn't bother me. I don't even care if really powerful people get offended by something I say and try and sue me in the future. Things like that don't interest me at all because I just think information is far more powerful. It's far more important to share information than it is to worry about a bank balance. So, like for instance, if anyone ever thought they were going to intimidate me financially, it's like, mate, I'm used to having nothing. If you think I'm scared to have nothing to speak, you've messed with the wrong person. That ain't me. We enter this earth with nothing. We leave this earth with nothing. So I would much rather make a contribution to the planet, to people, to the world, than worry so much about having some sort of like fancy shit in my life. It'd be nice to have luxuries, of course, but that's never going to be the utmost importance over information. So me, for instance, talking on things that bother me and the observations I have and sharing that with the world to open people's eyes, that's going to be far more important to me. And so if it irritates people, especially powerful people, what do I care? Don't be an arsehole and you won't be showed up, will you? And it just shows, doesn't it? You're going to be deceptive. That's the kindest way I'm going to say it. It's deceptive. Believe me, I'll go in harder on something than that. And it's not going to be a case of, I just think this, I think that. I'm backing up with facts. So I will use quotes that are in the public domain, and I will cite those sources where I've seen them, and in most cases try to double down on that to try to make sure that it's not just this source, it's a couple of sources. So people are going to do their research. So I think that's going to be important. But for me, it's just fundamental. You can't go around the world just keep causing havoc, whether it's a politician or whether it's just people in general, and then thinking it's fine and there's no there's no recourse for that. It's like no. It needs to be, people need to be held accountable. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I find it interesting at times. I find it stressful in some ways because it's irritating. When all you see is negativity a lot of the time, it gets overwhelming. Like no one wants to live in negativity all the time. So I have to take myself away from it. So at the moment, I'm doing everything I can, not even to look at America. That's not at USA. It's not like I'm trying to be in a certain way there. It's just so much drama, like day after day after day. I just realized I got to turn off from it. I might miss some things by turning off, but I can't consume that stuff. It's just, it gets too much. It's just so much negativity in that direction. It's nice to see people speaking up. There's certain politicians. I saw a recent congressional hearing with Attorney General Pam Bondi. She was terrible. These people, again, I'm going to discuss. I don't care I don't care of the level of these people. I will discuss them in my book. She wasn't necessarily on my radar. I had other people in America on my radar more, but I'm not covering everyone. I've got other things to talk about. The world doesn't just center around the UK and America. There's other aspects of the world I want to talk about as well. And a book can only be so big. But now she's on my radar because the incompetence is crazy. I saw a picture of her younger around. I don't know if it was Epstein or Trump, but it raises flags. It raises questions. Her complicity in the whole saga, the way she's protecting individuals, is, I find, alarming. And the way she's it seems to me, she's decimating the justice system and doing her best to protect those that are guilty of crimes against vulnerable young girls. And I just think that's absolutely deplorable. Because there's something else I noticed, and I felt it was quite spiteful, and I think it was prepared. I think it was pre-planned. So from what I'm gathering so far, is that the justice system, which she's the head of, they subtracted or redacted a lot of potential um, perpetrators from the Epstein files. So they're hiding their identities, protect them because they're prominent figures or wealthy individuals. So they're the ones they should have been revealing because they were ordered in the law, like a court of law, to provide that information. Do not, that's the information we need. They hid that, and then they were ordered to protect the identities of the victims, but instead they allowed their names. So they've done it in the complete opposite. They've hid the identities of those who are potentially, those who perpetuated crimes, and yet they've revealed the identities of those who are victims. That must be premeditated. That for me feels like an attack. So rather than do their job of what they're actually supposed to do, uphold the law, hold people accountable, and protect the innocent, she's gone the opposite direction because she's just interested in protecting those with power. And Trump is one of those people who's quite prominent in these files. And everybody around him, from his press secretary, like she's a pain in the ass as well, and so many others, they all keep saying the same thing. We need to forget the Epstein files and move on from this. Of course, they want you to move on from it. They want to. That's why we see a lot of problems. And again, I'm going to talk about that. The fact that Trump if you look at it, as soon as it gets really, really chaotic around the Epstein files and anything that's detrimental to Trump, he does something chaotic to sway you, so you don't think about it. That's why. That's for me is why he invaded Venezuela. He's greedy anyway, but there's other things. He keeps talking about Greenland. Having these threats takes away the Epstein stuff, and I don't lose sight of what he's actually hiding. So I think some people do. They get caught up in it, and then they think, oh yeah, it's tiring. Keep hearing about it. It's tiring because he's making it tiring. He's doing it on purpose. He wants to tire people out. It's like, don't let people get away with that. There's genuine victims, and it needs to be looked at. So I find that quite that's something to really focus in on. I thought there's something else I was going to say there. Yeah, and the fact that everybody within Trump's administration keeps saying he's the best president ever, and they don't keep stop. They don't, and Trump even tries saying it, and he wants his name on everything. What I would say is anybody that has to go around saying I'm the best ever and I'm all this and I'm all that, and people have to in the close circle say the same thing. That shows an incredibly flawed individual because it's not for you to provide your own status or those that are around you to inflate your ego. It's for people to determine for themselves. It's people that determine other people's greatness. It's for them to decide what level you're on, whether you're the best president in history, which I very much doubt. I think he's probably one of the worst. But, I haven't got into the deeper history of the American presidents. But this guy is a clown. He's masquerading as a president. It's crazy to me. Like an imposter. It's a bit like, to me, it reminds me of, in Police Academy when I think there was someone who was an imposter as the, I don't know what you call it in the police force, but the head, like, whoever was head of the police force at the time. Lieutenant or whatever he was. It's like that. It's like he's masquerading as a president. He's not presidential material. It's crazy. So these are things I'll be looking at and discussing, of course. And I'm just pulling from information. There is something I saw today, and it's irrelevant of all that to a degree. And it was about Michael Jackson, because a lot of time, and I always say that, truth always comes out over time. So you could be accused of one thing, but give it time. And there was in the 90s, I think it was in the 90s, pretty sure it's 90s, or early 2000s, I'm pretty sure it's 90s though, where Michael Jackson was accused of being a paedophile, and he's and it harmed children because he had people over his compound, the Neverland Ranch, wherever it was. And it did seem quite sinister at the time. You're thinking, that's not right. Adults shouldn't be spending time with children, especially other people's children and things. It doesn't make sense. But what we miss with that is the fact that some people do have a childish heart. Like they don't grow up, or they're a bit like Peter Pan. And I think that's probably why I call it Neverland anyway. It's like you don't want to grow up. The world is quite a nasty place, and not everyone wants to be a part of it in that way. So they want to create their own space. Now, as time's moved on, we're seeing the predatory nature of those with power. And there is talk that a suggestion that Michael Jackson was killed for his music library because he wanted to, I think he wanted to move away from Sony. And all of a sudden, suddenly out of nowhere, he dies. So that was quite sinister. If you actually follow that, that's quite sinister. But these are things you can never truly prove. These are just suggestions. So there's a lot of powerful people that want to get away with whatever they want to get away with to keep maintaining power and prominence. But in this comment I saw in this video, which I've saved, someone said, it's quite apparent now that Michael Jackson, he was aware of all this paedophilia and things going on, which we're seeing now through this Epstein files, because that doesn't just happen. That's been happening for a long period of time. And we've heard about it with child stars, so that even in the 80s, it's almost rife with molestation through the entertainment industry, especially the movie industry, but even the music industry. It's almost like anybody that's got somewhere, especially from a as a child actor, had to be abused to get that position, to maintain position. It's just disgusting, isn't it? So now it's proposed that perhaps Michael Jackson was providing a sanctuary for those, to keep those children safe and protect them. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now. So, you know, when I saw it, I thought I never got bad vibes from Michael Jackson. It was only because the media kept twisting it and twisting it and twisting it, and kept digging at him. And of course, when you're young, you're a bit more impressionable. You think the media always know everything. They always tell the truth. Now we know they lie to shit. Anything for a headline, and they'll ruin lives for a headline. So I think the more you look at Michael Jackson and you listen to the lyrics of his songs, he was a humanitarian for sure. It wasn't about the money with him. I've no doubt about that. For him, it was not about the money. I think he wanted to be a voice of hope and change, and wanted to help people see the corruption in the world. He wanted to save people. That's what I think. Now, I'm not saying he's not flawed. I don't know him. I don't know him personally. You know, I don't know. I couldn't possibly say he never done anything. I don't know. But from what I've seen, and I've heard people come out since his passing, even Macaulay Culkin, they've all come out and said he was a friend. He was someone I could confide in. From my understanding, there's only ever one individual that actually made a false, I'd say it's false, an allegation against him. But even that transpired that it was because they were offered money to do so. The family were offered money to do so. And I think it was retracted later. But things stay in people's memory. Because he was accused of it, and then people naturally think guilty. And especially when the media was so strong in the past over it. They should be ashamed of themselves, really. But it's important that we don't taint the image of someone based on a false, just a narrative that doesn't hold a lot of weight. And I think it's important we read between the lines and do our research. But again, a lot of that is, you can't guarantee things. It's subjective, isn't it? But it's up to us to decide for ourselves, not allow others to dictate to us what is true, what is false. Because you've got to think, those in power are very good at manipulating, and and their power extends. If you go to like a media company, for instance, someone has resources, they can subvert the attention of the news. They could be in charge of the broadcasting, so they could tell the news channel, "I want make sure the article goes in this direction." So let's say let's say someone of power wanted to bring down Michael Jackson, and they've got influence over the person who actually owns the whole broadcasting network, and that can filter down where you tell them to focus on this individual. That's the power that's at play. And again, that's what I'm saying. So it's not all, for me, it's not all political. It's going to be things in general. I wasn't going to touch on Michael Jackson, but now I'm curious about it. When I peak of curiosity, I do go down that path of thinking about it. And if I feel it's worth documenting, then I'll document. I don't document everything I think about. But if I think it's worth it and I think it can help people, then yeah. So I probably will touch on Michael Jackson, I think, personally, and I'll provide my own insight. But again, I always make it clear that this is my thoughts. This doesn't necessarily reflect the truth of what happened. It can only be, because none of us, some things are subjective. It's not for me to say, oh, this is the be all end all. I'm just telling you the facts that I see, what I've witnessed, what I've bear witness to, what I've heard, and how I interpreted this. And then this is how I come to this conclusion. And I think that's just the fairest way you can be with anything when you have an opinion. There's too many people that walk around saying this is true. Oh no, you're lying. Well, you never did that. You can't say that with 100% accuracy. So make it clear that that's your opinion. Stop talking like that can't be possibly right, and listen to other people's opinions and listen to how they come to a conclusion, because it might open your mind to things. Too many people are closed-minded. They think they know everything. You know. So we sometimes gain new information. And I think it's important to share that information because, like I said, I think information is gold. So that's the next book. But the reason that could get delayed is, let's say I come across ideas or a different avenue. I might be thinking, oh, it's going to come out in July based on the information I'm already working on. But then I might have a different lead that I want to go down. I might start thinking, well, wait a minute, I want to include this in the book, and I haven't touched upon it yet. I need to do some research, or I need to think that process out a little bit more. So then the book's going to get delayed, isn't it? Now, I wouldn't let it be delayed continuously because there's always going to be something you can put in it. You know, there's always information in this world. There's always something to deal with, isn't there? But as long as it covers most of the things I want to touch on, then it will be released. But if there's things I want to add, then of course it gets delayed. So I don't really care this year what comes out. I feel like I've achieved what I did. You know, the book, whether it come out in January, whether it come out in July, whether it come out, it's come out. It just happened to come out the first month of 12. You know, it's 12 months. It come out in the first one. It's fortunate. If another one comes out this year, great. If they don't, I honestly couldn't care less. They will come out. So there definitely will be another spiritual book, and there definitely will be this politics society book. It's just when does it come out? That's the question. I do feel like working on it a little bit soon, to whether I do or not. But personally, I mean, you know, so like, let's say there's a breakthrough coming in my life, and people don't want to interfere with what I'm doing. It's like I wouldn't want to miss out on a breakthrough because I have other projects going on. I can do them in the spare time. I can do them at a different time. They're not like they're set in stone right now. But of course, I only want what's aligned with me. But that's the thing, I'll follow my gut feeling. So if something comes to me and I don't feel confident about, I don't feel it's right. Obviously, I have my cards, so I can ask. And I would, and that's how much I have faith in my cards. I will ask. So if something comes and I didn't really feel, my vibe isn't vibing with it, and I get my cards and say, "What do you think of this?" and it's negative, no, it doesn't matter the money or it doesn't matter the thing. Just wait for the thing that's right for me. Um, but anyway, these are the things I'm touching on at the moment, things I'm working through. For me, right now, the biggest struggle for me is financial. It's the one thing I do need to improve upon. It's something I often say I don't care about, but when it gets to the sort of crisis that I've been through for a period of time, you just want it to change now. And I think when you've worked hard enough for a period, it's like only fair. It's not asking for the world, but it's not asking for the world, but I also feel I deserve an awful lot. So the bare minimum, obviously, have your bills covered and be able to get food and shit, you know, because your basics taken care of. But I think I've contributed so much to the world already that it's gone unnoticed. But it doesn't mean I haven't put the work in. And it deserves to be rewarded. You know, I shouldn't be struggling every day. And you know, that's part of that's part of society that bothers me as well, is the fact that if you've got 2 views, 5 views, they're low. People just think, oh, it's obviously not good, or it's not this, and not that. It's like, no, it's not got traction. There's no growth. It's just not my fault. But yet, if something gets millions of views, all of a sudden it was worthwhile, and it's valid. It's like, how's that any more valid than someone who got less? It's like a lot of the time, there's not the quality, the content isn't usually that much different. So it's subjective, but it doesn't change the fact that the person who got a million views for their video put in similar effort to the person who only got 2, but the effort was the same. So how is the one that's got a few views any less deserving? So, you know, so I'm not someone who feels I don't deserve something. Oh, I deserve a lot. I deserve a lot. I've worked hard with very little in return, consistently, and for a long time. For a long time. I've sacrificed a lot to do what I do because what did I say at the beginning there, or towards the middle? Information is gold. It's priceless. And I think that's just a more important way to spend our time. If you've got something to say, something productive to the world, and it's like, don't hide it. There's always going to be someone who gets offended by what you say or doesn't like it or doesn't agree. But there'll also be people who are inspired, they support, and they do agree. You know? So you're going to have this. Life's always polarizing. You know, people don't like you, people do like you. So you can't pander to the ones that don't like you and you hold yourself back your whole life. What's that going to serve? So yeah, you just keep pushing forward.